Hey everybody, Don with Breja Tone Works again, and today we're going to go over one of the more difficult wiring schemes that you can do on your Les Paul, but it does give you the most different pickup combinations. It's known as the Jimmy Page wiring scheme, and today we're going to be doing that in the 50s style, which is using the capacitors wired so that you get that 50s effect from the tone. If you've watched one of my other 50s videos, you'll see that. What we're going to do is we're going to take this giant tangled mess of wires here. We're going to break that down for you into smaller steps, component by component, make it more manageable, and you guys can do this on your own. So looking at our necessary components, a couple things are going to be a little bit different. Your pickups do have to have the 4-wire conductors coming out of them. If you have standard 2-wire pickups, they're not going to work. You need to get new ones. Standard 3-way switch, standard capacitors and jack, all fine. Your pots, they actually need to be push-pull pots. They're going to have a little switch on the top of them. We use the 500K, and again, depending on your exact guitar, you might need to have the short shaft or the long shaft. Just make sure you get the right ones, but they need to be push-pull. A couple things we need to do in order to make this quite understandable. We're going to talk a little bit about the color convention, the pot and lug numbering. On the pickups, we should have a total of 5 wires. You have a black, a bare wire, a green, a red, and a white. And on my drawings, you can kind of see the dots here, and we're going to reference them as we do the drawing. On the pots, we have the 3 standard lugs. Again, lug 1, 2, 3, left to right. 2 is always in the center. If the pot is inverted, just keep track of where I'm referring to. On the push-pull switch, you're going to see lugs number 1, 2, 3 on the left-hand side. I refer to those as A1, A2, A3. On the right side, it's B1, B2, B3. So these are just my conventions. Other people use different things, so just kind of follow these as you're watching my video. As always, first thing we do is we deal with the ground. We are going to ground the top of all of the pots to themselves and to the switch. As you can see here, we take that and we run that out to our bridge ground. This ensures that we don't have a ground loop. And again, note that on each of the pots, on the tone pots, you're going to have the center lug, or lug number 2, is actually grounded to the top of the pot. And on the volume pots, lug number 3, L3, is grounded to the top. Make sure you do that. Wiring up the capacitors is very simple. It's the same wiring scheme as we would use in our typical 50s wiring. We are going to go from the volume pot, we are going to go from lug 2 to lug number 3 on the tone. So you can see that here. We're going, the top are the volumes. You're going to go from lug number 2, center, take the other end, go to lug number 3 on the tone pot. Both pots are wired exactly the same. You'll notice that I'm starting to remove some of the wires. I do this in order to make this schematic a little bit easier for everybody to follow, so just go step by step. Eventually you'll have all of them in there. We're going to talk about the output wiring right now. We're going to go from the center portion of your switch. Depending on the type of switch you have, just look for the center portion, run that to the tip portion on your jack, and then from ground, go to the ring portion on the jack as well. Typically, you find this coming off of one of the top of the closest pot, whichever one you want to use. If we only focus on the switch now, I put the ground back in. We're going to take the neck portion of the switch, the neck lug, and we're going to run that, shown here in red, to B3 on the tone, the neck tone push-pull pot. The yellow, which is the bridge pickup, is going to be connected to B2 on that tone neck push-pull pot. So at this point, your switch is all wired up. Moving over to the pickup, we're going to start with the bridge pickup, and we're going to take the black wire, and we're going to connect that to lug number A3 on the bridge volume push-pull switch. You can see that here in black, obviously. We're going to then take the bare wire, and we're going to ground that to the top of the bridge volume pot. We will then take a jumper from ground to A2 of that push-pull pot switch. You can see that here. The green is going to go also to lug number A3 on that push-pull. And we're going to stop with the bridge volume pot for the time being, and we're going to move on to the tone. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take from lug number 1 of the volume pot, and we're going to wire that down to lug number B2 of the tone the bridge tone push-pull pot. Then we take a jumper from A2 of that tone bridge pot and go to the ground, to the top of the actual pot itself. We're then going to make an X. Think about it this way. We're going to go from lug number A1 to B3 on that push-pull switch on the bridge tone. We're going to then take our white wire from the bridge pickup and connect that to B3 on that switch. We're going to take the red wire from the bridge pickup and we're going to connect that to B1 of that switch. And finally, the X, we're going to take from B1 to A3 of that push-pull pot. Okay, moving on, we're going to now talk about the neck volume push-pull switch. We're going to take the black wire from the neck pickup and we're going to go to lug A3 of that switch and continue on to B2. So you'll see that little jumper here between those two. Then we're going to take the bare wire from the neck pickup and ground that to the top of the pot. We're going to take the green wire and we are going to go to lug B1 of that switch. We're going to take the red wire and go to A1 of that switch. And we're going to take a jumper from A2 to lug 1 of the volume pot. So you can see that here shown in yellow. Now again, I'm pulling out all of the wires as we're doing this just to make these instructions a little bit more clear. However you want to do it, doesn't matter to me. I'm just trying to make it as clear as possible. Now we're going to start to wire up the neck tone pot. And we're going to take a wire from L1 of the bridge volume and go to lug number A3 of the switch on the neck push-pull pot. You can see that here obviously in black. We're going to then take a jumper from A1 to ground on that same switch and pot. Shown in brown, we're going to go from lug number 2 of the volume on the bridge pot and go to B1 of the neck tone switch. Shown here in slight tan, we're going to go from B3 to lug number 2 of the neck volume pot. A white wire from the neck pickup is going to go to A2 of that same switch. And then finally, you should still have your wire from your switch actually going to lug number B2, the one in yellow. We had seen this before, as well as the red wire going to lug number B3. So if we take a step back and you want to check your wiring, if we look at just the pickups themselves, if we start with the neck pickup, your wiring should look like this. Your white wire from your neck pickup should go to lug number A2 on the neck tone switch. Your red wire is going to go to A1 on the neck volume switch. Your green wire is going to go to B1 on the neck volume switch. Your bare wire is going to go to ground on the neck volume pot. And your black wire is going to go to A3 on the neck volume switch. Same thing if we look at the neck pickup to ensure we have the right wiring. The black wire is going to go to lug A3 on the bridge volume switch. The bare wire is going to go to ground. The green wire will go to A3 on the bridge volume switch as well. Your red wire is going to go to B1 on the bridge tone switch, and your white wire is going to go to B3 on the bridge tone switch. And there you have it. If we put all the wires back in, this is what you're looking at. This is your completed Jimmy Page wiring in the 50s style. Again, the 50s is just in reference to how the capacitors are wired. If you want the modern, just go and look at one of my other videos on the modern wiring of a Les Paul, and you can see how you want to switch the capacitor wiring around. But this is your completed wiring. Now what we want to do is actually go over the different pickup combinations. You're going to get 21 of them out of this. So looking at the screen here, obviously if you have the selector switch down towards the bridge pickup, you're just going to have the bridge by itself. If you engage the push-pull pot shown in red here on the volume of the bridge, you're going to see you only have the screw portion of the bridge pickup engaged. If you engage the tone as well, you will now have the stud version of the, or stud portion of the pickup engaged. Middle, you're going to have your traditional bridge and neck together. If you engage the bridge tone, you will have the two pickups in parallel, but they're out of phase. In just engaging the bridge switch, you will have them in parallel, but they will be in phase. Both the bridge and the tone engaged will be parallel and out of phase, and you'll notice that we have a full neck pickup and only the stud portion of the bridge pickup. If we engage the neck switch, you will have a full bridge pickup and the screw portion of the neck pickup. They'll be in parallel and in phase. Engaging the bridge tone will have them be in parallel and out of phase. The bridge and the neck engaged together, you will have the screw portions of both pickups, and they will be parallel and in phase. The tone engaged, along with the bridge and the neck, will give you the screw on the neck, the stud on the bridge. They will be parallel and out of phase. Again, if you move just straight up to the neck, you'll have your standard neck pickup. If you engage the neck switch, you will only have the screw portion of the neck. If you have the neck tone engaged, you will have both pickups in series and in phase. If you engage the bridge tone and the neck tone, they will be in series but out of phase. Engaging the neck tone and the bridge volume, they will be in series and in phase, but you will only have the stud portion of the bridge pickup and the full neck. If you engage the bridge volume, the bridge tone, and the neck tone, you will have them be in series and out of phase, again, full neck and just the stud portion of the bridge pickup. With the neck volume and the neck tone engaged, you will have a full bridge, the screw portion of the neck, they will be in series and in phase. Engaging the neck volume, the neck tone, and the bridge tone, you will have a series and out of phase with the full bridge and the screw portion of the neck pickup. Engaging the bridge volume, the neck volume, and the neck tone will give you in series and in phase both screw portions of each pickup. And if you engage all four switches, you will have both screw portions of the pickups. They will be in series and out of phase. So those are your 21 different combinations that you can get out of this particular wiring scheme. Again, it's a fairly complicated scheme. I've tried to break it down step by step for you here. You can see each component, how each one is wired. Take your time. Be sure, especially with these switches on top of the pots, the lugs are very close together. Don't use too much solder so you end up shorting something out. Take your time. You can definitely do this and get some really cool tones out of your Les Paul. Thanks for watching. If you have ideas of things that you'd like me to try to put some videos together for, please let me know. And as always, tone. It's not just a knob, it's sound advice.